Hello, welcome back to Sora Soundwaves. This is Reese Delavan, interviewing Eli. So, let's hop into it.
Yay.
First question.
Yeah.
How have you enjoyed your time here at Sora?
Ooh, okay. This is my second year at Sora, and we're in the last cycle. So I likely won't be here for the high school. So this is going to be my last little bit at Sora. And yeah, it's very sad. But I've really enjoyed it here. I think from the moment I came here, I could just tell that it was different than a regular school. I've been in a lot of like public schools and moving around a lot and everything. We tried a lot of different homeschooling options and everything. And I feel like Sora has just been different than all of those other options with the project-based learning and just the way that they approach education. I've really liked in my time here. Yeah.
That's awesome. Would you say there's like almost kind of like a skill or an art to having to be in online school?
Ooh, I mean, there is. I think anybody can do it. Like, I think anybody who's ever been on a phone call or like FaceTimed somebody, like you basically know how to do it. But in my time at Sora, I have become a little bit more, not necessarily tech savvy. I don't think that's the right word, but more like I know how to type now, where you can hear the voice tone in the typing. And I didn't know how to do that before. So I wouldn't say that you need a certain skill for it, but I do think that it kind of shapes you into somebody who's like, I guess, a better online presence. Yeah,
Yeah. So, you told me that you were building a neural network, correct?
that is right. Yeah.
What exactly is that?
So a neural network it's a rep as you might be able to guess by the name. What's the word? It mimics the way that a brain works with neurons and everything. Your brain is a neural network. It's a network of neurons, but the digital neurons work in a different way. It's basically taking two inputs and using some type of set of rules to put them into an output. And I won't get into like the specifics because I don't want like, yeah, watch this episode actually. So yeah. But basically, once you have that basic neuron, which that'll run in like a nanosecond or something, that's just very simple. But then once you put a bunch of those together, and then once you have the output of two neurons going into the input of another one, once you can like put those together and stack those on top of each other, they can learn almost. Each neuron has a value assigned to it, a couple of values usually, but just for simplicity, each neuron has a value assigned to it. And based on what value you want to get out from the network, you can tweak the values of each neuron over different, like, they're called back propagation, which please, like, stay here. I'm not gonna, they're called back propagation passes. And they basically just equip the neurons to create the right result. So it's the backbone of AI, most AI systems. If you have like a neural network, or sorry, a large language model like ChatGPT or something, then you're putting in your text, and then it's been trained on like thousands, millions of other text little snippets and conversations and everything. And the neurons have been trained. They've learned how to sound exactly like human speech and everything in conversation. So it's really really cool because it's kind of I like to call it like advanced computing, because obviously computers can perform operations and everything, and compounding the operations makes complex computations. But with a neural network, it can learn things that don't have an intuitively like a mathematical structured way. It works very well with chaos, I guess, which I found it really drew me in, and I think that was really cool.
That's awesome. So what I'm kind of hearing here is it's an advanced form of coding that can learn. basically.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it a form of coding necessarily because you have to code the neural network. But it's a program, a computer program that can learn. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's awesome. So, are there like different versions of neural networks?
That's a really good question. There are different versions of neural networks, which I'm gonna have to get into a little bit of this like science behind it. It's not really science, it's just math. The neuron takes two inputs, and each of those inputs are, and there can be more inputs. Like you can really tweak it. So there's different types of neural networks that are recognized widely by the community of people who do this kind of stuff, but which I don't consider myself. I do not know that much about it. But there's like the constricted network. So maybe you give each neuron an extra rule that it has to follow. And sometimes that'll kind of like narrow down, like make it easier to learn because neural networks, like I said, it's based off of a brain. While you're training it, it can like get sidetracked in something else while it's learning. Like it's really weird to see a computer doing such like human things like getting sidetracked while learning something. And so there's like a constrained or constricted network that can give it some extra rules to help it keep on stay on track and everything. And yeah, just basically all of the different, like I said, the recognized versions are just different, either different equations that you're putting into the rules, or just more or less rules that each neuron has to follow. So I guess there's an infinite amount of different types of neural network that you could make, but I can't give you the like amount of widely recognized ones, but it's basically just any combination you could think of.
Oh, so could you maybe like, if you wanted to hard enough, make a video game that could learn and become harder as you go on?
That's a very good idea. You could definitely do that. See, I guess what that would be is the input to the network would be the player's position, like what levels they've completed in the past and where they are in the game right now. And then you just have to train it to make it harder. And I think the main thing with neural networks is that they can do things you didn't program to them to do. You can train it on a bunch of different images of cats and dogs and tell it to recognize whether it's a cat or a dog, and then show it one it's never seen before, and it'll be able to recognize that. So with the game, you'd have to train it on like you have to do a lot, like hundreds and thousands maybe even of other gameplay and how like exactly to make it harder equipped to the specific player. But once you do that, it should be able to just take whatever you throw at it. So I think adaptive games is something that I need to see coming out.
That would be
That,
awesome for me
that
because I'm a
would.
gamer. And I think everyone at Sora that games would love that.
That's
That'd be absolutely awesome. What, so since you made one, what are you using it for?
okay. I think I mainly made the neural network. I made the neural network in the programming language Python. And I love Python. I refuse to learn anything else. I made it, and it's widely used for AI related and neural network stuff. And what I use it for right now, I use it for a couple of like other projects. Like recently, I built an evolution simulator. So basically, I made these little, and I got the idea off of a YouTube video, and I guess I don't know if we can I don't know if I have the power to be like, it's in the description or whatever.
I don't think
But
I have that power either.
but I don't know. But I saw somebody who had made like these little digital organisms and they had it like added different traits to them and allowed them to like reproduce and the traits to be passed on and everything. And it simulated how like Darwin's theories and everything. Like it was really cool. And I wanted to make that. And then I did make that, but then I wanted to make it better and adaptive, kind of like with the adaptive game thing. I wanted to actually give the little organisms, because they just like walk around in random directions and eat stuff and everything. Um, I wanted to give them a more complex structure, like real organisms in life, to see if I could simulate more like I'm using the word complex a lot. More complex interactions and everything that occur in real life. And so I used the neural network for that. But I mean, other than that one project and a couple of other ones, I kind of just like play around with it. It's like it's just the main, like I said, the main reason I wanted to build one is just so I could learn more about it. So once I've already built it and I learned what I need to learn about it, it's just to play with. I gave it a bunch of there's a data like a database of handwritten digits that like basically like four, like five, just written with like a pen, like a stylus or something. And I gave it that database and then drew my own and to see if it could like predict what digit I had drawn. And it gave me some pretty good accuracy. But like there's nothing, I don't do anything important with it per se. Which I mean it's fun though.
It sounds fun. Like, do you
Yeah.
have to move it into an app so it can like go through the process of learning to like
Hmm.
turn it 3D kind of?
Yeah, it doesn't have to go through a specific app. I just run it on my Python interpreter. So Python is the language that can I think Python is a program in of itself, but it's written in like ones and zeros, like exactly what a computer can understand. And then the interpreter is what actually uses Python so that you can type out your code and then Python just, executes it. And I just typed out the code into just directly into the interpreter, and then I can just run it. I have been thinking of making it into like an app or something that you can actually like send, because if I were to send this to somebody else, then it wouldn't run because I like it's natively on my computer, so it's using excuse me, it's referencing like files on my computer and such. So, but I have been thinking about making it an app so that I can like send it to other people and like, oh, look what I trained this one to do. I think that would be really cool. But no, you don't necessarily need a specific type of app or anything to run it. It's just you kind of just press play.
So once you press play and it runs your code, is it like a screen off to the side that shows you? Like,
Yeah,
how does it
so
show you?
in the terminal, which I don't know if anybody watching knows about anything about coding or anything like this, but there's obviously the place where you type the code, but then there's also the terminal, and that's where you can get feedback from your code. So you could have the code just be print this text to the terminal or everything, but usually it's so that while you're running something as, intricate as a neural network where you really need to know what's going on in it, then you can kind of print that data to the terminal. And I have it so that that's basically what it's doing. It's printing, it goes through a couple of rounds and tests its own accuracy. And then it gives me that accuracy level and the current training. They're called epochs. I don't know. That's EPOCH. I don't know where the name comes from. Like you could not, I should probably figure that out because that would be probably interesting. But I have no idea where that comes from. But the training epochs are basically if you do 100 epochs, then it's going to train and then learn, go again, learn 50 times. And the more times you do it, obviously, it's kind of like the more times you practice, if you're like an actual person learning something. And it gives me the epoch that we're on and just like a bunch of other logistics and the data from the network. And I just have that running in the terminal, just spitting it out at me while it runs. It would be cool to make like a proper screen that pops up and it shows me what's going on and everything, but I think that would be a journey for if I do end up making it an app, because I'm honestly fine with just the the data, the hard data. But if I were to make it something that other people would use, then I would definitely create like an interface of some type.
That's cool. That's cool. That's all the questions that I had for a neural network and, a little bit more.
Yeah.
But talking about Sora specific, like, why did you choose it? Was there like a reason?
There was a reason. So like I said, I was in a lot of like public schools. My family's moved around a little bit. I think up until very, very recently, was it when I got to no, it was up until my sixth grade year. So from kindergarten to sixth grade, every year I've had a different school. Sometimes stopping in the middle of a year to go into a different school just because we're like moving around so much and everything. But once we kind of settled down in this kind of general area, I live in Virginia, Charlottesville area, if anybody is from Virginia watching. And once we kind of settled down in this general area, we were looking for some better options. So I went to the public middle school that is like here. This is I'm in Fluvanna County. It's the Fluvanna County Public Middle School and everything. And I just went there and it wasn't it it was a public middle school. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. It wasn't very kind of like the adaptive video game we were talking about. It wasn't really working for me specifically. And I mean, if I could have stayed there, and I probably wouldn't. I don't think I would have as many of the opportunities that I have today if I had stayed in the public middle school with the different like the fields that I'm looking into going to afterward, like after school and everything, and also obviously the leadership opportunities that I'm like occupying in Sora. I obviously wouldn't have those if I had stayed at the public middle school, and I'm really glad that I didn't. We tried a couple of homeschool part like options, but they weren't really it either. Mainly because it was just they recorded a video in a real classroom and then sent it to you, and you were just supposed to just look at it, and maybe they'd give you a couple of books that you could write in, and it just wasn't it felt cold almost, like it wasn't that there wasn't a real person speaking to you, they were just speaking to the camera. And I'm sorry, my dog is freaking out. And so we were looking around and we found Sora, and I think it was particularly appealing because we like a homeschool. You could just do it at home. You didn't have to go anywhere. We didn't have to drive anywhere because there was a lot of like any other school that we wanted to really go to other than that public middle school would be too far away to wake up at every day at like 7 a.m. to go to. It would be too much. So just like traditional homeschool, you can do it from anywhere, just from the house and everything. But then it's not just a video; it's a Zoom. Like it's actually interacting with a real teacher, and which I don't know, I really like it because it just when they look directly at the camera and they're like this, then and obviously there's other people in the class, but generally they're speaking to you, not just the thousands of people that are watching the homeschool video. So I think, yeah, no, I think that's really what drew me to Sora and why I picked it rather than other options.
Yeah, that is really nice to have the teacher talking to you instead of like Khan Academy, which is it's cool, but it's still just a dude talking to you and writing on a
Yeah.
screen.
Right.
It's not really that easy. It's easy, but it's not that easy. And you
Right.
don't learn as much because you can't ask questions, and
Exactly.
you just have to keep rewatching until you understand. Is it nice to like be in the Zoom with the kids and the students?
I mean, it is nice. I think that's one aspect that is would be greater in a physical school, like that community kind of thing, which I think Sora has done a very good job at making up for, especially with like heartbeat and everything. I've never seen any when I came to Sora and they were like, "Oh, you got to join the Sora social media platform that they have for the students." I'm like, "What?" Like it's they've really made up for the social aspect that you would lose at like just going into an online school by nature. But I think it is cool to have other people there because regardless of it is oh excuse me regardless if they're in the room with you or not, those are still like real people and they're learning alongside you, and they might ask a question that you didn't think to ask but you didn't really know you needed the answer to that question. So no, I think it has been a better to and nice to have people around too.
Yeah. Is what is like a misconception, I think, that people that go to in-person school really like they get on you about it when you go to
Yeah.
online school. Like what's something that is like that but it really isn't?
I like that question. I think, a main, and I might be being too vague with this, but I think a main misconception or something that a lot of in-person schoolers get wrong about the online school is that it's like, oh, it's soft. Like, oh, you wanted to go to online school so you could wake up at 9 a.m. instead of 6:30 a.m. like us out here roughing it. And it's like, I think it is true that I wake up at 9 a.m., not at 6:30 a.m. But I don't think the fact and that number comes from experience. That's not just something I threw out. But I think it's better this way, which obviously I said the misconception was that a lot of people think it's soft. It's not soft around here. Today's Wednesday, and I'm like packed back to back on Wednesdays. So it's not at all. I would be yeah, I start maybe a little bit later, but I definitely end later than I would in an in-person school. Sometimes it goes to like 7 o'clock and everything. So it's definitely it's not soft like you would think. It's but then also I and I've heard that word soft, and it's like, do you really wouldn't you want a learning experience where you don't know what you need to know this information so that you can, like make it out here? And wouldn't you want it? Do you want it to be cold and hard? And do you want to hike up to the bus stop at 6:30 in the morning? Like, I feel like it's not soft, but also, do you want it to be cold and hard? So that's one thing that when I hear that, I'm just kind of cringe because people just want to feel like, oh, they're on a pedestal and everything. I go to in-person school and you're weird because you go to online school or homeschool or whatever it is. But I honestly think that it's better the way that Sora is doing it. I think, yeah.
I agree with that completely because most of my friends, they're either my same age, but they're oddly smart. And it's concerning because they're all in like higher level classes, so they're basically freshmen in whatever the next above freshman is. I forgot what that one is. 11th grade. Wait,
11th
10th,
grade is
that's 10th grade.
junior, I think. 10th
Yeah,
grade is sophomore.
sophomore, yeah. They all they're all up at like 5:30 and I'm like, I wake up at 5:30 all the time. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
talking about. I wake up, I shower, I eat, I do my schoolwork earlier and then go to my first class at 9 and then
right.
I'm chill for the rest of the day so I can talk to my friends on Zoom. And I'm like, what? I feel like it would be better if in-person schools started a little bit later because that's what I notice with my friends that go to in-person school. They're never getting enough sleep
Right.
because they
And
have to
when you're
wake up
not
early.
well rested, you're not learning anything anyway. So it's like, yeah.
It's just like robot check, check,
Right.
check.
Check.
I did this. Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna go play video games now. That it's like it almost hurts a little bit every time it happens because I'm like, man, I got the same amount of work you do. It's just a little bit
Right.
different, and I have to
Yeah.
force myself to do it instead of being in the classroom.
Yeah.
But like, is it nice for you at least to have control of your schoolwork and get feedback that goes directly to you from the teachers?
Ooh, I do, which I'm gonna skip straight to the feedback. I'll get to the whole thing, but I'm gonna skip straight to the feedback. The feedback, I do love getting personalized feedback. Anything other than like, a letter with a plus or minus symbol and a circle around it. Like what is that? Like I don't. So I think it's a little bit more, it makes you like think a little bit more about yourself rather than just, oh, well, the teacher said I got a B plus on that. So, that must be, that's where I stand. That's where I am. But I feel like when it comes to individual task feedback and everything, they're not giving you a specific, oh, this is how good you are, just in general, and get better or don't. I don't really care. But it's kind of more like a feedback. This is what you're doing well. This is what you can improve on. And like you said, the fact that it's personalized for you, I feel like it's how learning should be, because how do you learn a language? For example, if you're on a language learning software, do you do all of these practice lessons and you check your pronunciation and you learn all the words, and then it just gives you like, oh, you got a B minus? Like no, it's like, if it's a good language, because I use Duolingo personally, but that's off topic. It gives you, okay, here's your next personalized practice. You did it this fast, but you made this many mistakes. And I think it's Sora is similar to that, where it's actually giving you the all of the just the data about you and where you are in your learning process, instead of just throwing a letter at you and just, oh, if you want to do something about it, you can, or don't. It's just, yeah.
And the fact that you can ask for like an extension to whenever you need it. That is so nice. I give that A plus 100%. But what do you think of like their grading system and being able to see the rubric for all of your work and what grade you'll get based on what you do?
Seeing the rubric has been very, very helpful. I think in I don't remember, because I'm thinking back right now, in all of my years at being in public school, I never really got a rubric until I joined Sora. I don't think I knew what a rubric was. I
Same
don't
here.
because yeah, that little paper that you get that they tell you to put in your backpack and give to your parents, I guess that's what they called the rubric. But I would always read that, and it wouldn't be like the rubrics we have at Sora. It's like more like a class expectation thing. Like, oh, you're gonna get expelled or something if you do this and everything. But that's not a class rubric. That's not what you're looking for in the final project, which obviously that's not the same thing it as in Sora and everything. But that's not what we're actually like looking for. That's just the basics. That's just the expectations rather than the specific learning steps that you want to, go through. And I guess I'll just go to that. I touched on the tests versus the projects. Have really been liking project-based learning. I think, you mentioned this earlier, just that you're checking off stuff. You're gonna remember this for the test. You check off the test and then immediately forget it all. And I speak from experience. I could not tell you the year that Thomas Jefferson signed the paper that made it so that you could own property in, like, I don't know. I have no idea. So because I just remembered it for the test, and then after the test was done, I forgot about it. So I think with Sora, it pushes you to be passionate about what you're doing. Because I personally, I've talked about how I like coding and everything, and I'm also really into VFX and like CGI, 3D modeling and everything. And a lot of my final projects that's kind of been the vessel that carries them. And it's been really fun to connect something that I'm really passionate about and that I actually want to like go into and explore in like after school and everything, into the final projects at the end of each cycle. So it's just, I've found that I'm remembering stuff more than just when I'm remembering it for the test and then forgetting it. You're ruining my interview. Sorry. Okay. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. It's the
Thomas Jefferson signing piece of paper.
yes, thank you. Please edit this out. I found that I couldn't tell you when Thomas Jefferson signed a piece of paper, but I can tell you I recently did a class about nuclear fusion. I think that was, I say recently, that was last year.
Yeah, I took
Time
that
flies,
one
I
too.
guess.
That
Yeah,
was
the
awesome.
commercial nuclear fusion. I can tell you so
Fission
much
and
about
fission or
the
fusion.
fission or fusion is what it was. I chose fusion. And I can tell you so much about the plasma that needs to spin through the contraption and everything. Like I'm not gonna, unless some big breakthrough is made, I might not need information about nuclear fusion, but yet I still remember it. It's still, and not in a way that it's like taking up space in my brain, just that I found a place where I'm really passionate about what I was learning. I really liked, especially because you can choose your classes, which you don't really get the same luxury unless it's like an elective or something in a regular school. And I think I've really found a place where I am actually interested in what I'm learning and therefore I retain it better. So it's just overall just more effective, I think.
Yeah, and the fact that you can choose between like 5 or 10 classes, and you
Right.
can choose when you want to start and when your classes are, so it fits in with your schedules.
Yeah,
It's amazing. It's
it
awesome.
is.
But that's all my questions. So that will be the end of the episode. We hope you had a very good time us talk. Wait, enjoying us talk about Sora, all the classes, and especially the neural net link that he's building, and how shockingly smart my friends are. So that's awesome. Hope you have a great day. We're out.